everybody, let's turn around and come back up this direction. I'm going to talk a little bit more about stress and what it does to your body, which is not terrific. I hope you met maybe some new people today. That social connection is a really important part of stress management. So stress affects our bodies in a lot of different ways. And one of the things that it does is it affects us in our ability to process information. So one of the things I noticed about my mom when she was moving was because of a health problem. So part of it was that, but when she was completely overwhelmed and stressed, she had a hard time just trying to figure out what to do because it affects your ability to process that information. And you have something inside of you called the fight or flight response, which I'm guessing you've heard of that before. When we're faced with a stressful situation, we were designed to be able to react to that by these powerful stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol being shot through our bodies. So if we were in a fire or a car accident or something where we needed to hurry and have extra strength, we need that during fight or flight. The problem becomes when we are constantly stressed and those fight or flight responses in our body are continuing to be elevated. So you have, I said, hormones like cortisol. It increases our blood pressure and our blood vessels start to restrict. So that is not good. That is really harmful for our bodies on a long-term basis. If it's just once in a while when we have an emergency, that's fine. We can come back down after that. So stress really is when we have this pressure that exceeds your perceived ability to cope with it. And I think all of us had that during the pandemic, especially at the beginning. We had no idea what we were facing. So here's some of the things that happen. I mentioned your blood pressure goes up, heart rate, blood sugars go up. You have increased digestive issues. So maybe your stomach's upset, which happens a lot in little kids. I need to go to the nurse. My stomach's upset. The nurse takes their temperature. They go back and there's nothing wrong with them, except they're probably stressed about something. It could even cause ulcers. It causes us to gain weight. I mentioned that during the pandemic, what happened to many of us. We might lose sleep. We are feeling really tired. We might fall into depression. And our immune system goes down. Well, golly, we don't want that to happen, do we? Especially when we are facing a pandemic. Now, other interesting thing that happens with that stress hormone, cortisol, is when you're faced with the stressor, you have an argument with a significant other. You look at your checkbook and, oh my gosh, I'm overdrawn. There's some stressor. It takes 6 hours for that cortisol hormone to decrease unless you do some kind of an intervention. You laugh. We're going to talk about the interventions here. You exercise. That will help to decrease the cortisol level in your body. All right, I have another little story, and I'm asking you if your hair is on fire. Now, my brother, Dave, the one who went out and saved the dogs, when his daughter, my niece, Andrea, was a preschooler, she looked like this. When she's about 4 years old, Dave came home one day, and his standard response when he was stressed at work, when something was really going crazy, he would say, oh, it was a hair on fire day. That's just kind of a funny joke that he would tell. Well, when he came home and said that one day to his wife, Judy, Andrea overheard him when he said, oh, it was a hair on fire day. And Andrea said, Dad, did you remember to stop, drop, and roll? Now, the little preschooler heard that as the literal translation, and she remembered probably from preschool that they learned about fire safety, right? But actually, if Dave would have thought about it, instead of stressing, all of us could stop the stressor, get away from it if we're able to, Do what we can control. There's so many things out there we cannot control. Drop. Maybe we just need to drop something for a minute and take a walk. If we're angry, just get away. Stop and drop it. And sometimes we need to utilize humor or other ways to just roll with it. Just go with it and let it go. Let it go. Anybody familiar with that song? If you've been grandkids maybe watching. All right, so here's Andrea at her wedding a couple years ago. All grown up now with her husband, Andrew. All right, I'm going to ask you that keeping your head above water is about finding the right tools. So I brought a tool that is in this bag. And you're going to help me figure out what kind of a tool we're going to get out of that bag. So I have over here a bag full of different kinds of tools. There's a paint brush, or a paint roller. A shovel. We got a lot of different ones in here. What else we got in here? Oh, there's some kind of a pliers. So I have a whole bunch of them in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake this up, and I'm going to let somebody draw one of these out. And I'm going to try and get it to come out of that bag. All right? Well, because we're going to see if we can get the right tool. Is there anybody who'd like to draw? Who would like to draw? You want to draw one? All right, just pull out one.
Is it folded?
Yep. Okay, what did you get? Show everybody. What? Shovel?
Isn't that what that is?
Oh my goodness. Do you think I can pull a shovel out of that bag? With magic. You're right. If we use magic. Now, if we're going to use magic, what do we need? We need a big magic wand, right? All right, and we're going to need some magic words. Anybody have some magic words? I'm hearing abracadabra. Now, you all need to get your magic wands out, too. Are you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Abracadabra. I don't know. I'll see if I can pull a shovel out of that bag. Some of you didn't seem very convinced because you were not saying the magic words. All right, look, wait. Whoa! Look at that. Here, I'll stand up here so you can see it. And the bag's still empty. How about that? All right, let me put that back there. So, finding the right tools. So, I have developed what I call the LEARN principles. And I think all of these are pretty doable that will help you reduce stress, but also live towards a better, healthier, active, and joy-filled life in this whole huge stress-filled world. So we're going to talk briefly about each one of these. In my book, I go into more detail. It's a small book. It's a quick read, but I talk about them more. So that's why if you'd like to learn more, you can in my book. All right, let's talk about laughter. Now, remember what stress does? It increases the increases the cortisol. And so laughter actually decreases cortisol. It increases that feel-good hormone of oxytocin. It also boosts our immune system. See how it's counteracting the stress? It decreases our blood pressure and our heart rate. It decreases pain. Anybody have some pain? Yeah? Me too. It increases our alertness. It helps us to get the oxygen to the brain. It has a lot of the same effects as exercise. It provides a social connection. You know, if you hear somebody laughing down the hallway wherever you are, or if we were here and we heard a whole group in there laughing and laughing and laughing, what would we want to do? We want to go see what they're doing down there, right? It's contagious, and it provides an expression of joy. So, I'm going to try to give you some ideas of some ways you can add some more humor and laughter to your life, but hopefully laugh a little bit here. So why do we laugh? There's 3 reasons that we laugh. One is a surprise. So like you tell a joke, or you have something that's kind of funny. Now, I'm guessing some of you here, and this I'll have to kind of go around and show it to you because it's kind of small, but I'm guessing some of you here were drinking some spring water, right? Did you see my spring water? All right, so it's kind of a subjective thing. And if I get a groan, that's good. Groaners are good, my spring water. And another way that we laugh, or that people can try to get a laugh out of you, is superiority. So that's your late night comics who put other people down. A lot of times politicians. But did you catch the Oscars this year? Did you see what happened when Chris Rock was putting down other people and went too far for Will Smith's comfort level? Not that Will Smith was right in doing what he did and jumping on the stage and smacking the guy, but Chris Rock is sort of notorious for this type of humor, which I don't really care for. But it does get people to laugh. And laughter and crying actually come from the same deep place, and it's a sense of release. So think about when you laugh and you laugh and you laugh and you laugh, and then you start to cry. Have you ever done that? Sometimes you start to pee your pants too, but you laugh and laugh so hard that you're crying, and then sometimes you're crying and crying and laughing all at the same time. And when you're all done, you feel so good, don't you? There's that sense of release, of that deep down release of all those emotions. Now, how can you add some more joy and laughter to your life? You know, our little people laugh a lot. Anybody have some preschoolers in their life? Maybe a grandchild, a neighbor, a niece, a nephew, somebody. You've been around preschoolers at some point, right? Do you know how often preschoolers laugh in a day? A lot. We think about 400 times a day, while us adults merely chuckle 15 times. So what happens from the time we're little preschoolers until we become adults? And I start to see that happening long about 4th and 5th grade. The kids start getting worried about other people, what they think. And their little inner boy and little inner girl somehow gets squashed down. You all still have a little inner girl and little inner boy inside of you. I don't care how old we are. He or she is still inside of you and wants to come out and play sometimes. So we need to allow that little person inside of us to come out and play. Because we have all this stuff that happens in life. We have social conditioning. And I'm sure there's some people in here who think that I'm just a little whacked out. And that's okay, because I have fun. Now, one of the ways I have fun is I do singing telegrams. So you might see me in the middle of an office building in a gorilla or a chicken costume, or Mrs. Anita Chuckle, who you're going to meet in just a little bit. And I will be, this has happened. I park my car in downtown Des Moines. I have my balloon bouquet, and I'm ready to go into an office building. In my chicken costume, I'm walking down downtown Des Moines. Hello, how are you? Did you know the chicken crossed the road today? I made it. A hot chick is here. And there's some people who are able to play along with me. They'll see me clear across the street. Hello, chicken. And then there's other people who I know their little inner girl or boy has taken a nap, and their panties are in a bunch, because I see them going like this. There's not a chicken there. There's really not a chicken there. There's not a chicken there. And they don't even acknowledge that there's a yellow chicken walking down the street and saying hello to them. So I hope that you're somebody who's willing to play, and that really does help to reduce stress. And also, when we look for humor, we'll find it. If you're a pet owner, there's all kinds of opportunities to watch and get some humor, right? Truth is often funnier than fiction. There's a lot of really funny things out there, and I'm not saying we laugh at people at their expense, but sometimes, I'm a huge fan of the Iowa State Fair. There's some pretty interesting characters. If you just sit down on a bench and watch people go by at the fair. Anybody done that? Yeah, you can get a little giggle here and there. And again, not laughing at people, but it does bring me a little humor sometimes. And don't forget that those kids and grandkids are a great source of humor. So let's see what this little gal did for, oh, this is the laughing babies. I'm not sure if this will work on here. Probably not. Let's see. Oh, there it goes. Babies are a great source of humor. And there's pets and babies. All right, so there's a lot of those on TV. Okay, here's the next little gal. Let's see what she says. I don't know if you could read that. It says, she drew this really nice picture, and it says, I love my whore family. And her nice smile. All right, I'll give you a minute to read. This one's hard to read. Now, notice the picture. It says, my dad is the best cock ever. All right, and don't forget those funny signs. At Walgreens, we have all your back-to-school supplies, 12-pack of Miller for $7.99. See, if you just look, there's humor. And our pet lovers at the animal hospital, it's all fun and games until somebody ends up in a cone. Now, my local vet down in Huxley, puts signs like this up on his marquee, so it's always fun to see what he puts up there. All right, Green Cove Junior High. We're going to have parent night at 6 p.m., and there's free shots from 4 to 6. All right. I'm going to ask you, are you Mrs. Snagglepuss, or are you a Mrs. Anita Chuckle? And I mentioned Mrs. Anita Chuckle just a little bit ago, but let me have you meet each of these ladies, and let me find out who you are. Well, hello there. Now, why do I have to do this? We come here, charge all this money, we gotta watch this crazy lady up on the stage. They had this dumb fashion show at lunch. I don't wear any of those things. I heard her talking about sleeveless. It's all right to be sleeveless. No, it's not when you have these arms. This morning, the sun came up and then it got cloudy out. What's up with that? Rain, rain, rain. That's all we ever get around here is rain. So, are you Mrs. Anita Chuckle or Mrs. Snagglepuss? In contrast, I'll have you meet Mrs. Anita Chuckle. Well, howdy! How are you doing today? I'm so glad to be here. I see some smiles. I see people are awake. They're not sleeping. It's so great. Now, did you know you can grow smile seeds? You can. Where are my gardeners? There were some here. Had you ever tried growing a smile seed? You know how you do it? I've got my smile seed right in here. And I have this empty grocery bag, And all I have to do is put my smile seed in the empty grocery bag. And then what are you supposed to do? What do you suppose we have to do to get it to grow? Smile, thank you. You're on top of it. All right. Smile and laugh. Because when we smile and laugh, it grows smiles that we can spread around the world. So I'm going to need everybody to go, ha, 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 ha. Are you ready? Here we go. Ha, 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 ha. Do it again. Ha, 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 ha. Now, did you know that your brain and your body don't know the difference if you're faking a laugh just like that or if you're laughing at something for real? So, let's see what happened in this bag. Oh my goodness. Look, there's little tiny smiles and they're growing all over everywhere. Because when I laugh and I smile, I spread them all around to the people around me. Because I don't want to be around a grumpy person, do you? No, we want to be around people who are pleasant and spread joy. And not only do we spread the joy to other people, got one more in there, it also helps us to feel a whole lot better and reduce our stress when we laugh and when we smile. So, if you are ever around some grumpy people, which I am sometimes, I've got some family members who, they always see the glass half empty instead of glass half full. Sometimes I have to just go in the bathroom and I have to just go to the mirror, take a nice deep breath and I feel so much better. It really does work, so try that the next time. Those people are trying to dump their garbage in your front lawn. Don't let them do it. All right, so that's Mrs. Anita Chuckle. She forgot to tell you what her maiden name was. Do you have an idea? Mrs. I Need a Man. All right. I'm going to challenge you to find some joy out there. Now, there's always people who are spreading joy. This is my friend Diana. And as you can see, she's a person who has Down syndrome. She is one of the most joyful people I know. I just love Diana. Whenever I see her, she calls me Silly Sally. Whenever I see her, and the last time I saw her was at the basketball game last winter, she sees me and she goes, Silly Sally, Silly Sally, Silly Sally, and she comes running up and wants to give me a hug. Diana exudes joy despite her disability. She is an extrovert, clear out 10 plus. She will greet and hug whoever will take her joy. Sometimes when she's working at the Great Plains Pizza Place, she's the person that goes and picks up all of the dishes and takes them back to the kitchen. I think her bosses sort of have to get after her because she'll stand there and chit-chat to everybody. Diana, yes, okay. She is just a wonderful person, and I asked if I could take her picture, and I told her I was going to use it for my presentations, and she just smiled and smiled. So, where do you find your joy? Now, do you know there's a difference between happiness and joy? Happiness is being delighted despite our circumstances. Or it's based on our circumstances, where joy is delight regardless of our circumstances. So Diana, I'm sure, has had some challenges with her disability. And I'm sure picking up dishes at Great Plains isn't the most exciting job. But she still finds joy every day. And this is the World Happiness Report that comes out each and every year. And I know you can't read this over here, but I did put them up here. The happiest countries are all of those Scandinavian countries. Finland always ranks up at the top. The United States keeps dropping. I think when I first started putting this up, it was like 13. Now we're down to 19. We have a lot of unhappy people. And yet we're one of the richest countries in the world, which is really quite sad. All right, I'm going to have to hustle along here. Our next letter is exercise. So look at all these things that exercise does. Zaps our stress. It boosts our problem solving. Controls our weight. It even grows new brain cells. That's some research that came out in 1999. And that's not just for children. That's for all of us. All of us, when we exercise, we grow new brain cells. So it affects our bodies, but it certainly affects our brains. And there's so many other things that exercise does. We think better when we add some exercise and movement to our day. We really do. So we know that the brain is wired for movement. Children, K through 12, many of them are kinesthetic learners, which means they learn best by getting up and moving. One of the things I do is I teach teachers about how to use kinesthetic or movement to teach academic skills in the classroom, because I know that it helps the kids learn better. We think better when we're moving. I'm guessing some of you, when you're trying to problem solve, maybe you go for a walk. Well, there's the research. You think better and can problem solve better when you're exercising. It helps to establish these neural pathways and all of the dendrites and the neurons to communicate better in our brains. And when we exercise aerobically, it gets that blood circulating throughout your body. And you know some of these things. When we do cross-lateral things, that means we're crossing the midline. It helps the blood to flow from the right side to the left side and the left side to the right side, which is very beneficial. Now look at this. This was a brain scan. This, I think, research came out maybe like 2005, 6, 7, somewhere in there, by a researcher at the University of Illinois. So on the left side is a brain where somebody was just sitting quietly, and they were taking an exam or a little test. And look, notice the activity in the brain. On the right side is the activity after the person went and took a 20-minute brisk walk. Then they came back and started doing that cognitive task. Notice how many more or how much more of the brain is engaged after exercise. So that was some really exciting research that came out. So how can you add more exercise to your day and movement? Make it a priority. Maybe you have a class that you go to, or you just get up in the morning and do something. And it doesn't have to be intense exercise. It can be sitting in a chair and moving, putting on something on a video. That works too. Taking some brain wakes and getting up and moving if you're concentrating at a computer for a while. Walking and talking with others that live with you or your family. Getting exercising. That's really important.